In this video, we're going to walk you through 8 steps to take to help you to use OneFile productively as a new user. Step 1 is to set your email preferences. In order to receive any email notifications from OneFile, you first of all need to set your email preferences. And to do that, you visit your profile page. Your profile pages can be accessed via this tile on the trainee dashboard or via the profile icon at the top right of any page in OneFile. So if we go to the profile page, we can see there's a tab entitled Email Preferences. And if we scroll down this page and look in the Email Alerts section, we can see that we can elect to receive an alert by email every time something happens for me in OneFile, or alternatively, we can have these bundled up into a daily digest which summarizes anything that's happened for me in OneFile that day, and we can even elect on which days to receive a daily digest. So that's step 1. You must set your email preferences and click on Save. Step 2 is to pay attention to messages and tasks. Let's go back to the trainee homepage. Now, in addition to email notifications, OneFile will also notify you of activity within the system, and these come in the form of messages and tasks. For example, if an assessor has reviewed a submission of a competency, you'll receive a message about this in OneFile. If an assessor has asked you to acknowledge their feedback on a submission, you'll be set this as a task in OneFile. And we can see on the trainee dashboard here, 2 tiles, one entitled Tasks, one entitled Messages, and we can click on these to go to our messages and tasks. On every page in OneFile at the very top, the black icon here with the blue number, we can access our messages via this, and similarly our tasks via the little list icon with the red number. And in fact, if we click on this here, we can see that we've been set a task to acknowledge some feedback we've received on a submission from one of our assessors. So it's really important and useful for you if you pay attention to tasks and messages in OneFile. Step 3 is to upload a profile picture. This will really help those assessors that only see you on an infrequent basis to remember who you are. And in fact, the first task that you will see in your task list is a task asking you to edit your profile and to upload a profile picture. Let's just click on My Profile again, and this is a profile of a trainee who's already uploaded a profile picture. And we can see there are links there to upload new profile pictures or to delete existing profile pictures, and we would recommend that you do this very early. So that's step 3, upload a profile picture. Step 4, take a look at the gap analysis view of your progress. In the progress section in the left-hand menu, OneFile provides you with a very useful series of tools for understanding and viewing your progress. And the best of these tools can be found on the gap analysis page. So let's just go there. And on this page, when you're getting started with OneFile, we recommend that you begin with the gap analysis page and that you select the Show All option here, and that you then click Apply. And what you will then see on this page is a list and a very visual view of everything you have either already done or you have still to do. And in this case, we have a trainee who has a competency highlighted here in red, which they've submitted nothing for, a competency highlighted here in orange, which they've submitted some evidence towards, but it's not been assessed here, and a couple of competencies highlighted in green, which have already been approved and signed off by an assessor. And if we scroll down the page, we'll see that this presents us with all of the competencies and all of the assessments that we're required to do in all of our modules within our program. So we recommend, and this is step 4, that early on you take a look at the gap analysis view of your progress so that you can see everything that you have to cover in your workplace-based learning. Step 5 also relates to progress. Step 5 is improve your overall progress view. To get the best out of the overall progress view, and if we click on overall progress here, what we will see is a page where we have already clicked Show Detailed View up the top right here, But when you first arrive at this page as a new user, actually all you ever see are module codes. So if we now click on Show Detailed View, we get a much more detailed presentation of our progress against all of the modules that we have to complete. So step 5 is about improving your overall progress view by clicking on the Show Detailed View checkbox at the top of the page. Now steps 6, 7 and 8 are all about selections that we want you to take when you make your very first submission of evidence towards a competency or a submission or a competency or an assessment. So step 6 is when you make your first submission, choose the gap analysis view of competencies and standards. Let's start a submission of a competency to walk through this process. To do so, we click on Submissions and we start New Submission. We decide what kind of submission this is, and here it's a competency submission, and we give it a title, and I'll just select Genetic Testing 1 as a sample title here, and then we start the submission process. And when we start the submission process, there's a big button here which we have to click in order to select the particular competency or assessment or standard that we are submitting evidence towards. So I click on this button, and there are two views that we're presented with here. One is called the tree view, one is called the gap analysis view. By default, the tree view is selected, and it's not a very useful view, so we recommend that you click on the gap analysis view the very first time you're going to submit some evidence, and it gives you a view that we've already shown you in the gap analysis page on the progress section. Gives us a nice visualization of what we've got in front of us and what we've not done, and what particular criteria, what particular competencies or assessments we want to select to submit evidence against. So step number 6 is that when you make your first submission, choose the gap analysis view of competencies and standards. And this takes us directly to step 7, which is that when you make your first submission, we want you to show the descriptions of the competencies or standards you have selected. What do I mean here? I'm going to progress with this submission. I've just selected two particular competencies that I'm submitting some evidence towards. And I'm going to go to the bottom of the page. I'm going to ignore this supporting evidence box. And I'm going to hit Save and Quit. Save and Quit takes me to the next stage in this process. And at this point, what we can see is a list here of the competencies that we've selected to submit evidence towards. But by default, these descriptions are actually hidden when you first use OneFile. And what we would recommend that you do is that when you make your very first submission, you click on the Show Descriptions button, so that whenever you now make any submissions, you actually see a much better view of what your selections are, including the titles of those competencies. So step 7 is that when you make your first submission, choose to show descriptions of the competencies or standards you have selected. The final step in this video is about understanding Save and Quit. So when you submit competencies and assessments in OneFile, it's important to understand what OneFile means by Save and Quit. And to put it very directly, Save and Quit is the button to click when you want to progress with a submission. I'm going to begin a new submission so that we can see the points where we wish to select Save and Quit. So I'm clicking on Start New Submission. I'm going to select that this is a competency. I'm going to give it a title. I'm going to just call it a test competency in this instance, and I'm going to hit Start. I'm now going to select the particular competencies or standards that I'm submitting evidence towards, and in this case I'm going to do so from this particular module here, where competency 1 in this case is the competency I want to submit evidence towards. And what I want to do once I've selected my competency is go to the bottom of the page, and we recommend that you ignore the supporting evidence box that you're presented with on this page and hit Save and Quit, because Save and Quit here actually means go forward. It means progress in the submission workflow. So if I hit Save and Quit, I come to the next stage where I now see that I've given my competency a title. I've selected some competencies and we chose to show the description of those. And now I'm asked to provide my evidence. And here I could, for example, import some text from a Word document. So I shall just do that. Let's choose a file very quickly. So I've just taken some random text from a Word document here, or I could attach a document. And if I click on attachment here, I then go to my evidence library and I can pick up a document that I may already have uploaded, or I could attach a fresh document. I could import a fresh document. I'm going to select this document here, competency evidence number 2, and I'm going to attach that as part of my evidence. So I've provided some evidence. I've brought some text in to the text input box here, and I can also write in this box if I wanted to. I've attached some evidence. What I then need to do are two important things. I need to sign this submission, and this is my declaration that this is an accurate account of what's taken place and that the evidence is authoritative, it's mine. And then if I want to submit this evidence to my assessor, I actually, rather counterintuitively, hit the button called Save and Quit. So at this point in the submission process, Save and Quit means submit. It means go forward. It means progress in the workflow. So those are 8 steps to take to help you to use OneFile productively.